How has your battle with addiction changed? Was moving out to LA from Bakersfield, being a sex worker, and going to college, were those things triggers for your usage?
There were some times where I felt triggered to use. I haven't done heroin in years now, so it's been a long time since I've done it. But when I first started dancing out in Bakersfield, originally dancing was intended for me to, I was doing it to support a habit, you know? That was my original reason for starting to dance. But when I moved out here, I was actually moving out here to get my shit together and to get off of drugs. And I did that. And I had a couple slips. I've been out here for like 8 years, I think. But I've had a couple slips in between. I haven't really felt like doing heroin since I stopped for the last time. It's been pretty easy for me to let go of. I have no idea how that happened because it's never been like that for me. I've relapsed a million times, but school and also having access finally to fun things that like activities that I was never able to do. Getting a taste of those things, I realized that there's really no place for heroin in my life. I won't be able to have both. So I'm Korie. I'm 30 years old. I just turned 30. I am a dancer and a cam girl, and I just graduated from UCLA with a bachelor's in anthropology on a pre-law track, and I am planning to go to law school in the fall.
What inspired you to go to law school?
Well, that's a really big question. There's a lot of reasons. I chose to go to law school because I grew up in a neighborhood in Bakersfield that was, well, Bakersfield in general is a pretty impoverished city. And, honestly, growing up, I never really thought that I would go to college. I felt like if I tried, I probably wouldn't get in anywhere. I barely graduated high school. I was constantly getting into trouble with the law. My dad was in and out of prison, and I personally have been incarcerated myself. It was one of the worst times of my life. I've been to juvie, I've been to jail, and I've been locked away in a carceral setting as a child, you know? I have a sister who has 6 kids, and they all got taken away from her, and that was like court ordered. So a lot of these problems in my family have had to do with the court, and a lot of those things were just an extension of us being poor and a lot of addiction in my family. So I know that those realities touch a lot of people's lives, and our legal system as it currently stands doesn't really take those things into consideration. All of the factors that compel people to commit crimes. So I want to get involved because I just see a huge problem. It's deeply affected me. It's affected a lot of people that I love, friends and family members. But I definitely think that if I study the right type of law, I can make an impact, at least for some people.
At what point, coming from Bakersfield, did you decide and you realized, like, I can do something for myself that's better than the situation that you might have come from?
Well, I started taking classes at SMC a few years ago, and I tried, and I had never tried at school before. I've always wanted to do something with myself. I've always known that I'm smart, but I was just so insecure, and I had been abused for a lot of my life, and teachers have said really mean things to me in high school that just made me not even want to show my face there anymore, you know? So, I came out here, went to SMC, I fucking killed it. And I was like, wow, this isn't so hard. Putting in half effort, I can get straight A's. So I chose UCLA, and I killed it there. I got a 4.0 GPA, and that, like, honestly, even now it makes me want to cry because I used to shoot up heroin, and now I have a bachelor's degree from UCLA. I'm summa cum laude. My upbringing and going to UCLA has influenced my job as a sex worker in the sense that my family isn't wealthy. They can't fund college for me. I have to figure out how to do it myself. My upbringing has influenced me being a sex worker because I didn't have any help growing up. I didn't have excess as much growing up. So now I want that. I want to have nice things. I want to be happy because I've never had those things. I want that, and I can give them to myself. It's also given me a sense of empowerment in some ways, but disempowerment in others. But it did help me pay for school. I've taken classes about it at school where I've gotten to hear from professors who actually used to dance, and that was really awesome to realize that there is a space for me in academia as a sex worker. I did faculty-directed research about food in prisons. I won a prize for that research, and I realized that I have a lot of knowledge that people are really hungry for. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to be in jail. I know what it's like to have your family ripped apart by foster care system. I know what it's like to do drugs and be in mental health services and have people kind of control your life. It's not that crazy. It's the reality for a lot of people, and I feel like the best person to help an addict is an addict. The best person to help someone who's in jail is someone who has been to jail, and has changed their life. Whatever.
Can you share an experience with us from being incarcerated and how that influenced your work on food in prison systems?
Being incarcerated influenced my research on food in prisons because when I was in juvie, I was always hungry. It didn't matter if I ate. I would eat everything on my plate and I would be starving within a couple hours. Being in there, you just have a very short period of time to eat. The food is super shitty. It's disgusting. It's definitely a part of the punishment. We had a very short period of time to eat. It was 15 minutes or something ridiculous. And it's so you've got a bunch of young people, kids, shoveling food into their mouths as fast as they fucking can. It's they're trying to dehumanize you. And reading about the food in adult prison, I'm just wow, this is extremely fucked up, and they get it way worse. If you're in trouble, if you're in solitary or something, or if you have this thing called container restriction, they don't give you a tray, they don't give you utensils, they just give you a loaf that you eat with your hands. And it's disgusting. People will just starve instead of eat it because it's that bad, and then on top of that, there's commissary. And commissary is basically going to 7-Eleven. It's chips and beef jerky, but not beef jerky, the sticks, pickles, just cookies, just stuff that's not very good. Ramen, that's a huge one. And the food that you can purchase is sold at an inflated price, so people will buy that from money that's put on their books or from the jobs that they work at in prison that they make 19 cents an hour, 59 cents for a single packet of top ramen. That costs 10 cents at a grocery store. And you have to spend a whole day's pay on one thing of ramen. Your money's gonna run out really fast, and it's all set up that way on purpose. One of my friends talked about how he would drink sour milk and just drink that because he was so fucking hungry. The name of my project is, what is it? An oral history of the cuisine of incarcerated people from 1980 to the present. And it focused mainly on California prisons. And I had 6 participants. One of them was my dad. One of them was a sponsor that I had when I was in Cocaine Anonymous. That's the group that I related to the most. It was the group of recovering addicts that I feel like I had the most in common with. A lot of them grew up poor. A lot of them had been to jail. A lot of them didn't have a dad around, stuff like that. Because I was in West Side LA going to AA, and there was just a lot of stuff that I didn't relate to. I don't relate to people being so enabled by their parents that they are literally funding their kids' drug habit. People who have more money, I don't know, their addictions go to places that mine never went. And they also a lot of them didn't have upbringings that were at all similar to mine. So I just felt really out of place there. And I found CA in South Central to be way more helpful for me. And so my old sponsor, one of my TAs from a class that I took, we realized that we're both formerly incarcerated, and he introduced me to a campus club that was for formerly incarcerated and system impacted students. So it was like really cool to connect with these people on campus and realize that there is a whole community of people just like me in academia. Sorry. It makes me really emotional because it's like, nah, we're here. And my sister and I have talked about this because she went to school too. We're the first generation in my family to have gone to college. My sister was actually telling me about this, and she said, I feel so bad. Like, I'm happy that I am where I am, but every time I level up in life, every time I get another degree, there's less and less of our people. And it's like, why aren't they here? Why don't they get to do this? Why do I get to do this? And it's like meeting these people, I was like, oh, thank God, like I'm not here by myself. There are other people who are like treading against they're going against the stream to try to make something better for themselves and for their communities, and realizing that there's people with the same amount of passion for freeing people and ending this shit was just so healing for me. And yeah, it was great to know that that exists. And I thought, I'm gonna have to do this shit by myself, and I'm not alone. And that was just amazing to realize.
I just wanted to follow up on, you said that their addictions, the richer people, went to places that yours never did. What does that mean?
So people with more money, their addictions go to different places in the sense that maybe they can do more. Maybe they can get some get out of jail free cards. Maybe they're able to keep up their appearance a little bit longer than someone who's low income and addicted to drugs. They might not get their kids taken away. I feel like, and this is a huge generalization, I know that this isn't the rule. Their realities don't get as harsh as ours. Like people in my family, if they do drugs and they get busted by the cops, there is no hope of them not going to jail. They are getting fucked. And I know people who can buy their way out of shit, especially out here in LA. When I moved out here, I've seen money like I've never seen before in my fucking life. With my situation and with many of the people that I love, there is no hope. There is no hope of getting out of that. Once you're locked up, you're fucked. You're gone. And people start forgetting about you. I feel like rich people don't go to jail as much.
What are some things that you want to say about your journey and the impact that you want to have on the world?
The journey that I want to embark on and the impact I want to have on the world are related to decriminalizing people who are suffering and fixing the systems that keep those people in a constant state of criminalization, because I don't think that people are criminals. I think that we criminalize certain behaviors and we're unwilling to fix them. We're unwilling to fix the cause of these behaviors. Also, changing our views around sex and sex work. I would like to be involved in the process of decriminalizing sex work. I don't know if it'll ever happen because for some reason people hate us, but they also love us. We inspire envy and disgust. These lawmakers have been talking after they've been buying our services and then writing laws to keep us criminalized. The reason why girls die is because we're illegal, Like our job's illegal, and by extension, you are illegal. It's like, I heard this phrase, nothing about us without us. And I think that should apply to fucking everything within the legal system. If it's got to do with changing the laws around foster care, foster kids and former foster kids should be involved in this. Sex workers, if you're writing a law about sex work, if you're writing some bullshit sesta fosta, we need to be in that room, and you need to be listening to us and taking what we say seriously and considering us experts. And that's why I want to be an attorney, because I want to do it for us. I feel like there should be a space in the world for everyone to just be, and if they need help, they should have access to it.